What if there was a simple plan that could bring new families into your church or group again and again? Now, not with big budgets, but with prayer, consistency, and genuine love. Dad, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to reveal 7 proven steps that will ignite growth.
Yes.
And Dad, these are things that you've proven will
over
work
and over.
over and over. Let's get started with the first one. Now, as we get started for this first one, what is the biggest barrier to growth that you've seen in all your years of experience?
In all the churches I have pastored, the biggest problem with growth is the people we already have not accepting new people.
Wow.
And that's the bottom line. That is the single biggest problem. So we have to teach our people to love the lost and the misplaced believers that are going to be coming through our doors.
Wow. So you're saying that the biggest barrier actually starts inside here in our heart.
Yes.
It's not in these outside things, but it's in our heart.
Yes.
What's the key to unlocking the heart? How does a church, how does a group of people or a small group, how do they unlock that in their heart?
Jesus gave us a powerful word, and he said to love your neighbor as yourself. We have to determine that we're going to love the unbelieving and the misplaced believers that are coming through our doors, or if they do come, they won't stay because they do not feel comfortable with us because we're looking at them as somebody who may take our place or may not be able to have the care that we once had because a lot of new people are taking our place. So we have to be really careful about our heart being right with God to love the unbeliever. And that is the first key. That's the starting place to have a growth advancement.
Let's get down to the nuts and bolts. Let's get down to the practicalities of this.
Yes.
So a church, a small group, a group meeting in a home. What is practical way to start this?
The practical thing is to look at the scripture very plainly and get our hearts prepared to receive those people so that they do not feel uncomfortable when they come to us.
Okay.
And God has got people prepared in all kinds of places for us to minister to, but we have to be ready to receive them or it doesn't happen.
So, Dad, what are the practical steps that a church or a small group can take to put this into practice, to begin to get their hearts ready to bring in new people?
The first step would be to set a date that you're going to have a kickoff for starting your growth and set aside 2 weeks of prayer so that your people can be ready to receive new people. Train the greeters, and actually everybody should be greeters, to love new people. Greet everyone with a warm handshake and a smile that comes through the doors. That goes for the regular people and for those who are going to be coming. Step out to meet people before they arrive. We don't need to wait till somebody comes to our door to greet them and love on them. They may actually be walking down the street to go to someplace else. And if we smile at them and invite them, they may come in. Introduce them to someone who lives near them or who has something in common, you think, with them. Make them feel welcome.
That's so good, Dad. That's so good. So I'm going to go back over those again. You said greet somebody with a warm handshake.
Yes.
Now I'm going to be just really practical, and I know you've taught me these things.
Yes.
Let's do it right here. I'm going to show an example of how sometimes people will shake a hand. And that just feels like, and you used to tell me, don't do like a wet fish handshake or a limp fish,
dead fish.
a dead fish handshake. That doesn't feel warm. It doesn't feel welcoming. And then there's the opposite side of that. And I've seen people come in and go for a handshake and they do this, and I'm not going to hurt your hand. They go, and just so hard. And that hurts.
Yeah, we're not in a contest.
We're not in a contest. And I know, gentlemen, especially gentlemen, sometimes you want to exert your masculinity, but this isn't the place. You're trying to make somebody feel warm and welcome
Yes.
into the church or into your group. And so you want to have a firm grip, not too tight and not too soft, a simple little shake. And you did it right there. A simple little shake, and then you let go and release.
Yes.
That's what a warm handshake is.
And smile.
Oh, that's right. So good, Dad. And a smile.
Yes.
So let's practice this again right here, right now.
Okay.
I'm going to reach out and grab your hand. Welcome. So glad that you're here today.
I'm glad to be here.
Are you glad to be here? Now, I had a chance to put this into practice. Just this week, I was in a small group, and I wasn't even leading this group. It was my son-in-law and my daughter, and they were leading this group. And as I was in there and they'd invited me to come in for a few minutes, I began to greet the people. And here's the miracle of what happened in that time, Dad. As I was greeting those people, and I can remember in particular one lady that I greeted her and just welcomed her in, tried to really make her feel welcome, shook her hand like we said, put a smile on my face, and just told her how glad we were that she was here. Well, I had to slip away. I went into another prayer meeting. But as I came back later, that lady was still talking with my son-in-law and my daughter and saying how much she had enjoyed that time in that small group that evening.
Absolutely.
It makes all the difference in the world.
Yes, it does.
So number one, greet with a warm handshake.
Everyone needs to feel loved.
Yes, everyone needs to feel loved. So, but that's just one step. When we think practically, whether they're coming into the church or they're coming into your home, or maybe they're on a patio or a porch setting, and we know that sometimes that's different ways of people meeting or where people meet.
Yes.
You don't want to just wait for them to come all the way into you.
Yes.
Dad, what's the best way to do this?
Go forth and meet them as they're entering the facility or the yard or whatever it is, and go forth and meet them even before you get in the door. They don't know what they're going to see on the other side if it's a building because they've never been there before.
Right. So in a church setting, I think it's good to have people outside the doors.
Yes, absolutely.
Have them outside the doors before they ever get into the building, welcoming people in. If you have like a porch, you can have yourself or your coworker or a wife or a spouse, whoever it might be, they can be out there greeting people. And you want that person that's going to be out front, you want to be one that really knows how to do the handshake.
Yes.
And really knows how to smile.
One of your
and
warm
welcome.
and friendliest people.
Right. And if it's not you and it's one of your coworkers or team members, then you want them out there.
Yes.
And so that's number two, is to step out and meet them before they actually arrive, even inside.
Yes, then walk in with them.
Oh, okay. Then walk in with them.
Yes.
And then when they walk in with them, do you just like let them go off on their own? This is
No.
many times a brand new place to them. It's an all new to them.
Right. They don't know where to sit.
They don't know where to sit. And so what would be a good suggestion there as they're walking in the door and you're helping, lead them in?
Lead them to an empty seat where that they can feel comfortable and hopefully next to someone who's as friendly as you are.
Right. And you know what? I think it's also a good idea as you're greeting them, or maybe you know who they are, to try to introduce them.
Yes, absolutely.
Introduce them to somebody else there. And that's a huge way to make people feel welcome and warm and loved.
They should have an introduction to several people, because one of those people will probably connect with them and that'll give them a connection right off.
That's great. That's great. Now, once again, this is practical ways to love people.
Yes.
Right? If it's an older person, a person that's many years in advance, you might not want to go and introduce them to, some young person that's, maybe not acting well or, just a little bit excitable. But at the same time, if it's a young person, you might not want to go introduce them to the oldest person there.
Yes.
You want to introduce people that maybe you would think they would have a connection with.
Yes, that's it.
And it doesn't mean that you might not do that.
Yes.
Especially with young people. Sometimes I have gone and introduced them to one of the grandmas our grandpas, especially if that grandma or grandpa is a warm, loving person,
Yes.
because young people need that kind of love and warmth.
Let me share an experience that I had not very long ago. I was visiting a church in another town, and as I went up to the entrance, before I ever got to the building, a little 5-year-old girl came up and shook my hand and said, "We're so glad that you're with us today." And it just melted my heart. I looked over and her parents were just beaming because they had trained this little girl to greet people. And here I am, a grandpa, and here's this little darling greeting me. Now, I want you to know I'd have probably joined that church in that town if I lived near there, because one little girl made me feel very welcome.
Dad, I want to share something else that I've seen and have experienced myself is that you can, especially when you're kicking off something, maybe you're kicking off your new group, or maybe you're just doing a special Sunday, or you know there's going to be a time when new people are coming in to your church.
Yes.
Those people that are on the outside, and I've seen where they get signs and it just says, welcome.
Yes.
It just says we're welcome, and you just hold up the sign and smile. And maybe you can get a couple of the kids or young people to do that as well. Maybe they're a little bashful or shy and they wouldn't be the ones that you would want to maybe greet somebody just like that, but they can hold up a sign and smile.
Tremendous idea.
And I've seen that happen. I went to a brand new church that was getting started, and they had all kinds of people lined up outside with signs and smiles. And it just created an energy, a welcome, like this is a place that I want to go.
Yes.
So this is a little idea. I sort of threw it into the mix. Yeah. I don't know how you feel about it. I know you're the expert here.
Yeah. I love that idea, and I've seen it many times, and it works.
It does work.
It made me feel welcome.
Oh, so you've seen it too. Good.
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
I sort of threw it in and like, I don't know if that's where you go or not. So awesome. Well, so that's one idea. There's a little free one on the side. So walk in with them as a friend.
Yes.
And then introduce them to someone that's near. And all of this is about taking the love of Jesus.
Yes.
And sharing it with other people.
Absolutely.
Let's think about that for one moment. Do you feel like that if Jesus were there, that he would just run on inside and sit down in his seat, ignore other people around him? I don't think so, Dan.
No.
I see Jesus as the good shepherd that cared for the sheep, that cared and loved on people. I believe he would be the one maybe holding the sign. He might be out there giving the big hug or giving the handshake. Hey, let me go introduce you to somebody. That's what Jesus would do. And it's important. It's so important that we share like Jesus would do, that we allow the love of God to just permeate our beings and express that to those that are in attendance in our church, our small group. So number one is prepare your heart for growth. Now, Dad, this next one, I think may shock some people. Jesus said, I go and prepare a place for you. Now, if Jesus is going to go and prepare a place for us, and many of us that have been believers or following Jesus for a while, we know that we have that promise, that he is preparing a place for us.
Yes.
And we're going to have a place for him. We're going to have a place to live with him.
And it's prepared.
And it's prepared. He's doing the work to get it ready for us. Dad, if Jesus is going to prepare a place for us, what should we be doing in the church and in our groups?
We should be prepared for the people who are going to be coming through our doors. The place should be clean. By clean, I mean it should be well swept. If there's window glass, then have it clean. The doors should not have snot on the door handles. And it should be a place that people would feel comfortable coming into. The outside should not have paper or plastic anywhere that it should not be, and no broken chairs or benches that might distract. We're trying to reach someone with the most precious message in the world and some of the most precious people that Jesus died for. We need to be very careful that there's nothing distracting that's going to hinder them when they come in.
So you're saying that just like Jesus is going to prepare a place for us, we're not expecting when we get to heaven to have all kinds of trash outside the pearly gates.
Right.
We're not expecting when we get to that mansion that God's prepared for us that it's going to have, as you said, snot on the door handle.
Yes.
It's going to be a clean place.
Yes.
And we need to represent God here on earth just like He is planning and preparing for us.
Absolutely.
So practically, you mentioned a few things. Maybe if you have kids and you're and you're having a small group in your home, you want to make sure that the toys are picked up and things are neat and clean as best as you can for what you have.
Yes.
If there's grass and you don't want a lot of weeds and stuff where people are having to walk through a mess, you want to have it neat and clean and trim with
Yes.
what you have.
Right.